Howdy everybody. Figure I'm going to call this video reflecting on the year, and I figure might as well film it in the spot that we started the year, more or less. Here was the first major project of the year. That is the first chestnut that I planted on camera with you guys. Made sure that I gave the best information I could, and hopefully that kind of started getting things going. So here we are. Out of the 100 trees that I planted, I think 99 have made it. There's definitely one that I can see has gone brown a month earlier than the rest, and I suspect didn't make it. I don't know what happened, why. It was in more shade than the rest. Maybe that was why. But it wasn't the only one in shade, so who knows. But yeah, by and large, 99% success rate on my chestnuts. Seemed to have been a pretty good success rate to me. I'm not sure if I want to try to double my amount next year, like if I want to buy another 100. I barely have enough land. I could probably squeeze it in, but it would take up every inch of land I have, so I wouldn't have a yard for my little one to grow up in. He'd grow up in chestnut forest, which isn't inherently a bad thing by any means, but yeah, he wouldn't have a lawn to play in at that point. So I don't know if I really want to go and buy another 100 chestnuts next year. I also, of course, still want to do some permaculture type planting with my chestnuts. I'd like to go ahead and for every one of my chestnuts, I want a nitrogen fixer. And I'd like to get a hazel tree and plant chestnut, nitrogen fixer, hazelnut tree. Chestnut, nitrogen fixer, hazelnut tree. All the way up and down north-south. I could fill in the rows in between, but I'm kind of thinking if I get into the money for it, I might get a big chicken tractor and drag it north-south up and down the rows of chestnut trees. That would help fertilize the trees. It would provide a second source of food and perhaps income if I wanted to get the licenses to sell homegrown meat in this state. The options are there as long as I don't fill in the middle rows. Of course, if I wanted to do it the other way, I could drag them up and down lengthways, but for some reason, I think it'll be easier to go up and down. So that's sort of what's on my mind. For those that don't know, I only have a total of 4 acres to work with. That's including the land that's already taken up by the house, by my other food forest, etc. And by my math, I can fit about 50 chestnut trees per acre. That might even be a little close. Some people would say to double plant in the beginning and actually go for 100 per acre, and then just fell the ones that are lower performing when they get big enough they start to take each other over. So that's an option. I could buy another 100 and just double plant that section, and then once they start filling in too close, I'll just have somebody come in and chop them down, or I'll chop them myself and then sell the wood. But that's not really what I'm after here, and I don't really want to spend that much startup money, even though I know it'll make itself back. You know, you can make a decent amount of money selling chestnut wood, but you know, it's not the only thing on my mind. It's not exactly what I want to do with my time and my money. So, you know, just stuff to think on, stuff I've been thinking on. The sales on Etsy are picking up. Patreon's staying about the same, but that's okay. I don't want anyone to feel like they have to subscribe to it. For those who are interested, it's only $3 to get a weekly update on what I've done each week. $5 gives you that, and you get to have a monthly vote on what I should start focusing in on next, what you'd like to see next. All those sorts of things and more. I think I have a $10 and a $15 option that I offer one-on-one conversation, I believe. No, I think $10 it's a live stream, and 15 it's 30 minutes one-on-one once a month to discuss your personal land and how I would recommend you take things on it. Everybody who's taken those tiers so far actually didn't want those benefits. They just asked me to keep doing what I'm doing and wanted to give some more money. So that's an option too. But yeah, if you want to help me out that way, you can. It certainly helps fund everything, helps give me the motivation to keep going, because I do a lot of this stuff for you guys and for my family. It inspires me when I make people happy, when I teach people something new, or when I inspire somebody to do something that they didn't think they could. So keep that up too. Anybody who's moving along with me, who's trying these things out for themselves, keep trying these things out. Just because I haven't become wealthy yet, or haven't become successful yet, I mean, I only planted the real, what I'm hoping will be my moneymaker this year. It'll be a few years before I'm making any significant kind of income off of them. So, you know, just like I'm knowing to take my time and not to stress too hard, you do the same. Don't stress too hard. I'm going to pan the camera over here just to give you guys a fresh view. But look at all the Osage oranges. Just Osage orange, or horse apple, or hedge apple, all sorts of names for it. I did a permaculture profile on them. But yeah, just beautiful. All winter long, the bunnies will pull the seeds out of these when they get hungry and there's no other food sources, so we leave them for the rabbits. Of course, the rabbits become my enemies when they try to eat my trees, but it is what it is. You know, you take the good with the bad. Can't give up just because you lose this and that here and there. So yeah, trying to think of anything else worth bringing up. I think I mentioned it, my smithing shop's been picking up a little bit. I'm getting about a sale a week, which ends up being about $30 a week. It's usually that or lower, but hey, if I can still get $30 a week, that really helps out. If you have any custom blacksmithing stuff, you just let me know. Outside of that, if you guys want, I can start walking us through the orchard for one last check on things. Things aren't really growing much anymore because it's getting too cold and the days are getting too short. So things are starting to get sleepy, but still we can give you all one last really good intro, or one last good outro for the season on my chestnut orchard. Now, I won't lie, I am still a little bit nervous about the chestnut orchard. A couple people have said online that chestnuts absolutely won't live in clay soil. This is pretty heavy clay. This was old agricultural land that I'm trying to bring back to a more natural, more sustainable style of life. Here, I'm going to shorten up my tripod so I'm not knocking you all everywhere. There we go. Here's the one tree I'm pretty confident didn't make it. You can see no leaves in there, inside that tree tube, but it's okay. There's plenty of others that are doing great. But yeah, I've heard some people say they can't make it in clay, or that it has to be acidic. It's a little acidic. Raspberries grow well here, and raspberries like a little acidity. So yeah, we've got a number of trees doing well. I mean, I'm sure you that have watched the original video remember I was planting trees that were, you know, shorter than the stakes holding up the tubes. So each of those stakes, a lot of them have doubled or tripled in height. So yeah, if you're able to, get started on those building blocks of whatever it is you want to do in life. If you want to start making money or living off the land, get those trees in the ground. A lot of places will sell you fall trees so that you can plant them this fall, or save up all winter, save your tax return if you get one, and as soon as spring rolls around, hit it and hit it hard. Start growing your future. Because even if for whatever reason I can't make very good money on this, there is so much food value that can come from chestnut trees that this will feed my family and then some every year. I don't remember the exact numbers, but I think a chestnut tree in 1 year at maturity can produce enough calories for a half a person for a year. So if you've got 2 chestnut trees per person, once they're mature, you've got enough calories to survive your whole year. See that one, the stem's actually pressed up against it for some reason. But, yep. So, if I have 100 trees, that means I can feed 50 people for a year if I can dry them out and preserve them in some way. Whether that be that I decide to donate, whether that be that I decide to help other people more directly, you know, find people in my community who need help. I've given out potatoes already this year because I grew enough that I could. There's one that's not in a tree tube because it was sickly and I didn't think it would make it. But look at how happy it is. So, you know, just don't give up on things. Sometimes all things need is a chance and a little bit of love. But yeah, if I somehow don't end up selling or I can't make a profit on chestnuts, they're not my only thing. I have other ideas I'm trying. I'm still trying to make it as a smith. That was my childhood dream. So maybe I'll make it as a YouTube influencer like I'm doing here. Maybe I'll make it as a smith. Maybe I'll make it as a chestnut farmer. You never know. But you got to start laying those building blocks down. Oh, this tree looks like it's already gone dormant. Yep, pretty much dormant on this one. But yeah, you got to start laying down those building blocks. Because if you don't, you'll never get there. It's not about finding the most opportune or the most efficient way. It's about getting started. I probably could have found a better way to plant these trees. I mean, I dug 100 holes by hand with a shovel in heavy clay. And I don't regret it, but I'm sure there was a smarter way. I think I know somebody, family friend I could have asked and borrowed a auger. And I could have just rode on a tractor we borrow and drill holes into the earth. Now granted, I hear that you then have to square up those holes, just like I made a video on why hole shape matters. Hole shape is pretty important. It helps make sure that things, if you've got a tube, it's the same as giving a dog a ball that's way too big. Can't grasp it. It just keeps going around and can't grab it. If you give it a square angle though, the dog can grab it. It's the same thing with the tree roots. If they have a circular hole, they'll hit the edge and they'll start spiraling and they'll kill themselves spiraling. So they need a square hole. So by giving them a sharp angle or square hole, you give them a lot better chance in life. But still, I could have rented an auger or borrowed an auger and drilled 100 holes and then came back through with a shovel and just kind of stuck the shovel across the edges, made some sharp edges. But the thing is, I just got going. I worked hard, I was sore for weeks, but now I've got chestnut trees. And while I don't have chestnuts this year, and I really probably shouldn't expect chestnuts next year, though I've heard with this company it's happened to some people, still, if they survive, I will have chestnuts. Oh, look at that. It's a nice little mat of yarrow. All these fern-like leaves. I did a short on yarrow already, but just a wonderful plant. Smells nice to me. Very potent though. It was used as an herb for food, but it was very potent. You'd treat it like a bay leaf. You'd add maybe that much to a big pot of soup. Otherwise it overpowers everything. But it works as a bug repellent and a bleed stopper. You can crush this up and stick it in a wound, and it stops the bleeding. A couple chestnut trees that really didn't grow at all when I put them in. Nothing wrong with that as long as they survive. I'll bet they just needed a year to recover. Give them time and they'll get there. At least I'm pretty sure. But yeah, we're keeping at it. We're working hard. I'll probably still be making a few videos until I run out of content. But yeah, if there's anything you want to know, just let me know in the comments and I'll see you on the next video as soon as I can. So here's a nice spot to stop. Here's one of my first comfrey I put next to a chestnut tree, so that will start helping each other out very soon. All right, goodbye everybody.